Live from JMT Studios, it's time for Two Jersey Kids, the best video game podcast on the planet.
What is up, everybody? This is E3 Special Edition, Part 2 of Two Jersey Kids E3 coverage reactions to what has been going on. This is me, Adam Buckingham, alongside the best tick handler in the business, Gary Seisel, reacting to the Sony E3 press conference and Nintendo Spotlight, they called it. I'm excited to react to it. Gary, how you feeling?
Good. It's a Sony day. I'm really into Sony, obviously. I own a PlayStation 4. A lot of exciting stuff here to get with Sony. I know that people were saying that apparently the press conference wasn't as exciting maybe as it could have been, and maybe it has been in recent years, but I'm still excited to talk about it, and Nintendo as well.
Yeah,
so
I mentioned
I'm ready to rock.
I posted a quick little tidbit, like 24-second reaction to it. It's a little hard to get your reactions in 24 seconds, but I thought it was a good press conference, but on the level of what Sony has done previously, I don't think it hit the levels that we've seen in the past. Last E3, they showed off so many new things, and now, I completely understand what they're doing. They're showing the games again, but it feels strange when most of these games are going to be releasing in 2018 sometime. I like seeing the gameplay of, we'll get into it, the Spider-Man at the end of the show. But it just seems strange that all these games, except for Uncharted, it seems like are going to be released later. But we'll run through it now. And
not to mention that they're all kind of continuations of current titles.
Yeah, which is things that I've mentioned, which is kind of strange. But I guess they'll leave off for PSX. They'll. It kind of does make sense to leave like Bloodborne, like the new Bloodborne, for PSX and things along those lines. So yeah. We'll roll into it. We're starting off with the Sony press conference. We're just going to roll through in order of what they showed off. First, they showed off Uncharted Lost Legacy. I personally am excited because it feels more like it's not just like just a little extra to the Uncharted. It seems like it's going to be kind of a full-fledged game. It feels like I know they mentioned that it's going to be $40, which it's not going to be a full-length Uncharted game, but I feel like it could be a good solid 6 to 7 hour story mode, because it seems like it has a lot of things that they're touching on, a lot of different areas that they're playing through, cinematics, and I'm interested to see how this dynamic between Nadine and Chloe is going to work out. I don't know, what do you think of all that?
I'm excited. It's Uncharted, it's Naughty Dog. It's one of those things where I love the Uncharted series. Personally, it's kind of unfortunate that Drake isn't a part of this game. It kind of just makes my heart ache a little bit, but I can deal with it. I think that I'm interested, like you said, in seeing how Nadine and Chloe kind of mesh as characters, if they can have that chemistry that Drake seemed to have with all of his sidekicks, if you want to call them that. But the game, through the trailer, looks awesome, as always.
It is Naughty Dog. It'll be interesting because, the main people at Naughty Dog, like Neil Druckmann and such, are not going to be directing this game. They're stepping back. They're doing The Last of Us Part 2. I'm sure they're offering like little tidbits, and they're letting a new crop of Naughty Doggers over there, I guess that's risen through the ranks to now direct this new Uncharted, because it seems like it's going to be kind of maybe this is the answer. Maybe if Sony sees like a big fan flux, they love these two characters together, maybe that you see this in the future is Uncharted Lost Legacy continuing Nadine and Chloe's story. Maybe that's how they continue the Uncharted franchise without Drake, but I'm not exactly sure. Maybe this will be just a standalone one-time deal, and Naughty Dog moving on to something else with the director of the Lost Legacy.
Yeah, I think it's actually a good point. I think it's possible that they maybe continue this series in a different way, like you said, with Nadine and Chloe. But I think this is one of those games that has the potential to surprise me. I don't really have much expectations for it, even though it is Uncharted, even though it is Naughty Dog. I don't have really high expectations for it right now, but I am still excited to play it. I'm just interested to see how it all pans out without.
I think I'm getting there more now, because we're seeing these trailers where it seems like more of a lengthy title, where it's originally I thought, The Lost Legacy, it'll just be like a stand-on type deal, kind of like with Left Behind with The Last of Us, which is like an extra 2 hours to it. But no, it seems like it's going to be more of a meatier, actual standalone game. So it's getting me. I'm slowly getting into it with like the interactions that we see in the first trailer. But moving on, Horizon Zero Dawn is going to get an expansion. It's called The Frozen Wilds. You didn't really get too much of what this is going to be about. I don't know from the expansion. I mean, I love Horizon. Give me more Horizon. Am I right, Gary?
You are.
I don't know what they're going to... The trailer, again, didn't say too much of what they're touching on, which I guess it makes sense. But I felt like it was... Maybe it's touching on a different tribe in a different area. I don't know. I got also like a shaman, like the shamans in the world, that type of vibe. Trying to... I don't know, like dealing with the crazy mountain or whatever's going on. But yeah.
I mean, I'm really excited about this expansion. The reason being is... Despite how awesome that game was, I always felt like the replay value wasn't exactly great. You could go back and you could do things differently, I guess, like make choices in terms of, you could like respond with violence as opposed to peacefulness or whatever.
But it doesn't really change the end course of the game.
Yeah. So I'm excited for this expansion. I think that this trailer had more of like a dark feeling to it. It sure seemed like more of an intense tone.
Yeah.
So well, like you said,
Horizon in general was a somewhat dark game if you think about it.
Yeah, that's true.
The grandiose scale of what was going on. No spoilers here, but yeah, I'm excited to hop more into Horizon. And I hope they expand on some of the things that they didn't touch on in the story, and hope they expand that for things that you can do in DLC. We'll see in the coming days, I guess. Or
I'm actually interested to see if they tie up some of the Horizon Zero Dawn ending, and if it changes what the sequel is going to be about. I'm interested.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if that ending is just corresponding. You'll get it settled in DLC, or is it specifically for the sequel? Which I kind of have an inclination it'll be for the sequel, because why would you show that and then be like, oh, you solve it in DLC? But yeah, moving on. We got a longer look at Days Gone. Behind Sony Bend, the developer. It showed off. I thought it looked from the Twitch stream that I had. It looked very janky. I paused on a section of where the main character. I don't know who the actual character's name is. He's like choking some dude out on a tree. And honestly, the face model of this looks really bad. I'm not gonna lie. I just casually paused on that. I don't know how I'm feeling about Days Gone. It looks kind of nice. Like I like the driving around a motorcycle. The world looks pretty beautiful. I like the things that they're touching on with the survival aspect of it. With you have these masked zombies, but I know you're gonna go into it more of how zombies kind of seems like it's kind of out of touch nowadays. It just seems like they're overplayed. Exactly.
That's exactly my feeling about it. I think. I've never been much of a post-apocalyptic person. Now, I sound kind of like a hypocrite because I like Horizon Zero Dawn. But what I mean by post-apocalyptic, God, it's hard to say for me, is that it's like kind of like The Last of Us. You kind of have that it's very realistic, but it's also that zombie thing going on. I've never been a big fan of zombies, so this game didn't exactly get me too excited personally.
Now, Gary, why do you personally not like zombies? Did a zombie affect you in your life when you were younger, and it's been a suppressed memory or that you're holding back? Is that why you don't like zombies?
No, I just think it's overplayed, and I was never interested in it. It's not something that really piqued my interest as a child. So, I'm sure people are excited about this. Some people are probably really into this genre, but it's just not my cup of tea personally.
Yeah, I wonder when zombie games are going to die. Doesn't seem like... I mean, now you have Days Gone, and then you have State of Decay 2. It'll be interesting. I know zombies became like kind of a huge thing when Walking Dead originally came out, and it seems like it's kind of slowing down. I personally am also kind of in that vein of it's getting a little tiring. However, I will definitely... If for what I'm hearing from Days Gone, if you're coming in and it's actually a beautiful open world, it plays very nicely, they have good survival aspects to it, and the single player has a good through line and storytelling, then I'll definitely give it a shot. So basically, I'm saying is if it's considered a great game, then yeah, I'll give it a shot. I mean, it's just how
I'm with you on that. Absolutely.
Most things are. But moving on, they kind of a surprise announcement. I didn't expect this. There's going to be the Monster Hunter series is coming to PS4, which was kind of strange. From what I saw from one of the Twitch streams, they were surprised because Monster Hunter hasn't really had a big console edition in a while. It's come to 3DS a lot, and what is it called? Monster Hunter Worlds. I know this probably doesn't really fancy you, Gary. Me, I'm not too sure quite yet, but it looks kind of cool hunting down these monsters. I know like the big thing with Monster Hunter is getting a group of friends together, hunting down these gigantic beasts and collecting their parts and collecting their innards, I guess you could say, and building new armor, new weapons, which is kind of cool to see, and we'll see how it'll play out. It's supposed to come in, I'll touch on it at the end of the conference, but early 2018. So Gary, from what we talked about before, it didn't sound like this tickled your giblets.
No, not necessarily. I feel like this game and the next game we're going to be talking about kind of are for people that are like longtime fans of the series. Just by watching this trailer personally, I didn't really get much of a understanding, I guess, of what the game was truly about. And I mean, that's due to partially, I guess, my ignorance of what's actually happening in this game.
Very ignorant, Gary. Very ignorant.
Yeah, it's partially true. But anyway, no, I mean, I'm sure this game's fun for people that have been a part of it for a long time, and I'm sure a lot of people are excited. I know I was reading somewhere that this game's really big in Japan, and also it kind of has like a cult following over here in the United States. So I'm sure a lot of people are very happy right now.
Yeah, especially because the PS4 is pretty. It's I think it's one of the best sellings in Japan, besides the Switch now because it's doing bonkers. But yeah, I did respect that they showed actual gameplay. It would have been weird if they just showed the title and nothing else. So it kind of shows you that this is an actual game that's being developed. It's like there's a game there. It's not like the generic showing something on a screen saying, "Well, we're working on it." Then the next one is Shadow of the Colossus is getting remade for PS4. This is actually kind of cool because they're doing. It looks like a whole like reskin, updated PS4 style. Looks beautiful. I never got around to playing Shadow of the Colossus on PS2, which I was kind of sad about, and I never got around to playing it on the remastered that I had for PS3. It sort of fell flat because I hopped into Eco, and then other things took place. I think something came out around that time, as always. It could have been Last of Us. But yeah, it looks like it's really cool. It's being head up by Blue Point Studios, which has done a lot of remasters and remodeling of old games. So it looks beautiful, and I know people will love this game. I'm interested to see if they've actually do they keep it as like the old Shadow of the Colossus, because I know a lot of people say that when they go back into it, the controls kind of feel a little wonky, doesn't feel up to date and more modern. I wonder if they're going to modernize the controls so it feels better and flows better for people. But yeah, it's definitely something that it holds high esteem in a lot of people's hearts, and they really love this game. So we'll see if it holds up when it's releases. Probably 2018 or 2019. Who knows? This remake of Shadow of the Colossus will be any good. Yeah, I mean, yeah. That's all your thoughts, Gary.
No, I mean,
you got nothing. You got nothing for me, Gary.
I was actually going to suggest you moved on, but I mean, again, like I said before, this is kind of one of those things where I just feel like I was too young to experience this game in its original form back in what I think it was 2005 when this game came out. So I heard it's kind of like a puzzle game, also with you're fighting basically 16 colossi. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly.
It's actually pronounced Colossi, Gary. Just kidding, I don't know.
Now, wouldn't it? No, but I've heard it's interesting about this game is I've heard that there really isn't much combat in this game aside from actually when you fight these 16 bosses.
Yeah, it just seems like it's a not generic. You're fighting these colossi map to map. I think you're purposely trying to kill these things to bring a loved one back to life, if I'm correct. So,
see, with this trailer though, I feel like as a person that maybe didn't have an experience with this game back in the day, it didn't really prompt me to go out and be like, all right, I got to figure out what this game's all about. It's just kind of...
See, the thing is, I feel like it held such high esteem, because when it came out in PlayStation 2 era, this had such a, awe moment, like everyone's in wonder of these gigantic beasts that you're fighting and taking down, but now in the PS4 era and Xbox One or Xbox One X era, these grandiose colossus or giants that you're fighting doesn't really invoke that sense of awe and as much, because we've seen it in a lot of different titles, like Gears of War. They've had like a gigantic, gigantic beasts, and you have another one I was thinking about, God of War, both of War, funny enough, where you're just fighting gigantic mythical beasts. So yeah. But I'm sure people are going to flock to that. I know a lot of people were excited about that when I was watching it on their reactions on Twitter. Because everything on Twitter is right?
Oh yeah, reliable for sure.
Then we got a long look at Call of Duty World War II and the multiplayer. Gary, this, you're more of a shooter. Are you excited to go back to World War II? Did this get you more excited? I know you're big into Battlefield 1, or because it seems like it doesn't, from your facial reaction, it doesn't seem like you're that excited for Call of Duty. Is it the fact that it's just Call of Duty? They're taking a different stance on what they're doing now, or what they're releasing. It's going to be World War II and not modern day shooter.
So here's the thing. With this trailer, okay,
hold on to your butts, people.
I'll be honest with you, there's not much that Call of Duty could have done with this trailer to get people overly excited. And the reason being is because everybody's been to World War II before with Call of Duty. It's nothing new that we're seeing. However, I think a lot of people are excited, including myself, that they're going back to this time period. I just think that what's really going to decide whether or not this game is successful is ultimately how good the single-player campaign is, and then also how good the multiplayer is. Does it go back to the Call of Duty roots that everybody loved, or does it kind of miss the mark a little bit? Like, you go back that time period, but you're still maybe the shooting mechanics are a little off. Or I doubt that's going to happen personally. But I just think that with this trailer, I don't know. I didn't get overly excited about it. I've seen it all before. We all have. So it's Call of Duty, folks. It's just Call of Duty.
I couldn't have said it better myself, Gary. There's some plenty good clips in there, so look forward to seeing that on Twitter. It was good stuff, Gary.
Buddy.
Moving on. They showed a lot of PSVR games. They had a military shooter called Bravo Team, a game called Star Child, psychological thriller Impatient. They had a random Final Fantasy 15 VR game, which was kind of strange, called Monster of the Deep. A fantasy game called Moss, where you play as a little mouse. And the one interesting one, it seems like Bethesda is going this route with their titles. Now you're going to have Skyrim in VR. But I don't know, did you see it? It didn't look as polished or as nice in the VR mode as you see in the normal Skyrim, like I guess Skyrim Remastered. Looked a little janky, kind of was in between the Skyrim era and the Oblivion era with the looks of it, in my opinion.
I didn't see the trailer in particular, but obviously I was reading about it. The thing about this, Skyrim, I feel like it's just getting beaten into the dirt, honestly.
I know, seriously. Are we going to buy it for the 5th or 6th time? Just like,
that's
Jesus.
What I'm saying. I saw a meme online. It's like, you don't have to release a game. It's like, you don't have to release any new games if you can just keep releasing the same one every year. Like, holy
and I'm sure they had the meme of the guy tapping his head.
Yep, that's it.
Profit.
Yep.
My God.
I just feel like
no matter stop releasing it and really give us Elder Scrolls 4. Damn it.
That's what I'm saying. I can't get excited about Skyrim in VR. First, because I don't really care about VR, and second, because it's Skyrim, and I've played it now on 2 different consoles, PlayStation 3 and PS4, and I probably will play it on the PC when I get it. So, you know what? That's just enough of that.
You're the problem, Gary. You're the problem. You're buying all the Skyrims left and right. I'm sure you're gonna, on the PC, you're going to buy the original Skyrim just to get the mods. And then you're going to buy the remastered because you're a little puppet. Dance, puppet, dance!
Well, I'll tell you what, though. The mods for Skyrim on PC are insane. And honestly, I'll be playing the Enderall mod, which is basically a different game. So you can't say I'm playing Skyrim again.
So that's a good caveat. Man, I really wish I could play that game and it didn't cause my laptop, the one PC laptop that I have, to crash.
Catch fire?
Yeah, basically. Because it had a cool vibe to it. Moving on, there was a lot of God of War stuff going on. A lot in the trailer that they released. I honestly like what they're showing. Looks like an updated look to the combat. It looks like it feels really nice. Got cool executions. Looks beautiful. Looks like it's going to be trying to go for that Last of Us, the thing that Last of Us has done so well now with, the adult character and the younger character, the 2 dueling personalities, which maybe that's what they're going for in Uncharted Lost Legacy as well. So I'm actually excited, and I liked how they kind of hinted and touched on that this is going to be a continuation of what happened in the original God of War, the God of War games, where now he was in that certain area with the Roman or Greek gods, and now he's moving into Nordic territory with the Nordic gods, and he must have some type of reputation when it comes to these mythical beasts, because why are they pissed off at him, is my question.
Yeah. See, I want to admit right now, I actually have never played a God of War game. I've seen you play it before. I'm ashamed to admit it. I know, it's crazy. But this trailer actually kind of threw me off a little bit. First of all, I was kind of surprised that it just had like more of a calm vibe than I was expecting until, of course, he started basically killing everything in sight. It looks awesome. The game looks really, really amazing. I kind of like how the combat looks. I mean, I love the gore that's kind of in this game that a lot of other games kind of hold back on. Mm-hmm. I mean, at one point, I think they showed him slamming down some gigantic log on top of a guy's head.
That was fucking nuts.
I mean, it's insane. It's so cool. So this might – now, I want to ask you a question, Adam. Do I have to play the other God of War games to play this game? Or
I really don't think you're going to need to play the other God of War games. All you really need to know with God of War games, the first 3, you killed all the Greek gods. That's basically what you need to know. That's basically what's going to happen. It seems like they're going to have some dynamic where he's the father, and you may not know who the mother is. It may end up being a Greek god. Who knows? But it seems like, I mean, it would make sense for them to just say you don't need to play the original ones, because you're alienating a lot of people that came over to the PS4 from like the Xbox 360 era. Like, why would Sony and why would they ever do that? Like, why would they try to alienate people? So I feel like this can be played as a standalone, standalone style. But Gary, do you want to hear my impression of what the original God of War games were?
Yeah, sure. What the hell?
Okay. Ares! Hack and slash, kill. Then bag some random glitch, how that happened, and then, punch Zeus and you're done.
That is one hell of a series. I am blown away.
I was able to sum it up in a short amount of time, and I think it's actually perfection. I think it was perfection. I think that sums everything up in God of War. If you don't think so, tweet the podcast at 2JerseyKids if you don't think so. If you like my impression, subscribe if you're a new listener, and continue to rate us, and also follow us on Twitter.
Nolan North style voice acting here on this podcast by Adam Buckingham.
Nolan North should watch out, because I'm coming for his job. I'm going to be the next Drake. When they hire me for young Drake, you guys will know where it started.
Sounds like a rapper. Drake and then young Drake, his son. Whatever.
We can just start our own group. Moving on. Detroit 2 Human showed off more of what the game actually is. I'm interested to see what this game is going to be, because in the past few times they've showed different scenarios, different things that's going on. It may be like Heavy Rain, where you have different characters and you're trying to weave them together in the story. One was like a detective style. This seems like he's heading up a revolution for these androids, and what was it? David Cage's studio. They hit the ball. They did well in Heavy Rain. Then what was it? Beyond Two Human was a little meh. So we'll see how this goes. But honestly, from these trailers, this looks like a really cool game. I like this aspect of just deciding what you want to do, and it playing out in different scenarios. Because I do remember. It wasn't this one particularly where they did show somewhat branching paths, but in the other one, it showed you there were so many different ways that you could have got through and solved that crime, or, stopped this guy from trying to commit suicide, or holding a little girl hostage. So I feel like it'll be interesting to see how this comes out and see if it lands more on the Heavy Rain side or Beyond Two Human. I'm personally excited for it, but, I'm just going to take a step back, wait, and see how it plays out.
So, personally, I actually kind of thought that this game was – I thought it was the most interesting, like maybe unique game that I've seen, at least in this conference. I don't know about you, Adam. Because I guess I'm familiar with a lot of the other games that I saw. I might be in the minority here, but I thought this game was kind of cool looking. I liked how they did the trailer with, like you said, how they'll show a scenario unfold, and then all of a sudden, like, this could have went different, and then they show you the other flip side of basically what could have happened. Yeah. I think that's kind of a cool way of showing how choices affect this game.
Yeah.
Now, I was reading on Kotaku, actually, that it'd be interesting to see how the gameplay kind of works out in this game and how everything unfolds there. But
I can see it kind of like a Heavy Rain style, where you're making decisions, but there may be maybe it's kind of like Telltale area where there's places to explore and try to get everything, which is what they showed in the one of the original trailers, like the detective where he's walking. You can go straight out and talk to this person, or you can walk around the area and figure out more clues so it can help with your branching dialogue. It can add more options to what you want to say, like so you have background knowledge of who this person is. So I can see it kind of like that mix.
Yeah, I mean that alone is intriguing to me. So
yeah.
I'm interested in this game, to see what becomes of it, I guess.
Moving on to the final thing that got me pretty excited. I think, before I get into it, I think I did pretty well with my predictions. The only thing that I think I came wrong was Bloodborne 2. They didn't show it off, but they did show off Days Gone, God of War, Spider-Man, which is this last one.
And you got the Xbox thing wrong. Let's be honest.
Fuck! I thought you weren't going to say anything,
happen.
Gary. You're not supposed to say anything. Sorry for people's ears.
You did well, though. You did well.
But, yeah. For not being an insider, because I'm sure all these insiders already knew about these games, so let's be real. So the last thing is Spider-Man, which I thought was really cool. It kind of gave me Arkham Asylum vibes, where Spider-Man's sneaking around, taking down bad dudes. Instead of Batman, it's Spider-Man. And then the combat looks really fluid, and it feels like Spider-Man. It feels like he's doing specific moves, like very acrobatic style, and then the web swinging, that's the word I was looking for, looked amazing. The world looked gorgeous. It looks cool because it feels like it's more natural, where if you accidentally because I've noted in the other ones you can get stuck on walls and you just like bounce off of it and like fall kind of from the original Spider-Man games from what I remember on the Xbox. But this is like you hit a wall and you just keep going and you turn around a corner and you keep swinging. That's the one thing that they need to make fluid in this game. They need to make the web spinning and getting around more easily. And I like the cinematics they were doing. The one thing that I was a little thrown off by is a lot of the quick time events that they had, which I'm not sure. I don't know if it's going to be specifically just for story missions. Maybe they'll have for main like cinematic story missions. They'll have that, but I hope they keep it on a download for like all the side missions and everything. Hope they keep it less. I don't like quick time events as much. Honestly, I would just prefer you just tell me what's happening in the cinematic. I just want to sit back and watch the cinematic instead of me fucking pulling the triggers, because it doesn't really get me that immersed in it.
That's what I was going to say. With Spider-Man, I feel like the emphasis in this game is on the action that takes place and you being a part of that. And I thought it was a little curious that they used so many QuickTime events. I was reading somewhere, again, on Kotaku, that basically towards the end of this trailer, it started to look like a Spider-Man short movie.
Yeah.
And I feel like if they use a lot of QuickTime events, this game's going to suffer immensely from that. I feel like there's only a few games really out there that can utilize QuickTime events, at least
effectively,
in excess. Yeah, like Heavy Rain was one of those games where the emphasis was more on the story, so I feel like more QuickTime events were okay.
Yeah,
it wasn't as a big a deal. But in Spider-Man, I feel like the gameplay should be the focus, and I think the game does look like a lot of fun.
Now that you mentioned it, I remember the original Spider-Man games did have a decent amount of QuickTime events. I specifically remember in Spider-Man 3, fucking final boss fight was on PS3. So you want to know what the QuickTime events was? It was hitting buttons and the 6-axis bullshit. And I failed every time and I got pissed.
I don't blame you. That was the dumbest control scheme ever.
And then at the end, they showed like a little short, which was the Miles Morales, which is also in the Spidey world. But that was the end of the press conference. Gary, what are your overall thoughts of the Sony press conference? I just want to get your. I just want to really wiggle it. If you want to be my lover. Okay, what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I actually didn't get a chance to watch any of these press conferences live, so I'm basically reading a lot of it. Basically, just kind of looking at what they were talking about. So my thoughts are going to differ from a lot of people that saw the conference. So I personally liked this. I liked the games that they showed off. Again, I'm partially disappointed, I guess, in the fact that there's not a lot of new experiences that they talked about, or any new experiences. So that's a downside. But I mean, I like Uncharted. I like the hell else is there? Of course, I took down my Google Docs, but I liked a lot of the games that they talked about.
God of War, Spider-Man.
Yeah. Sorry, my mind went blank.
Monster Hunter, I know you're fucking loving that Monster Hunter. Am I right? Get ready.
Let's not get carried away. So anyway, I'll give Sony like a B. B minus
that's pretty
maybe
solid.
in terms of their conference. I like the games that they showed off, so that's all you can ask for.
I honestly thought you were going to, from what we were talking about before, I thought you were going to give them higher grade, even though we didn't give the last press conferences any grades. But yeah, I think B is probably right where it should be. I would say B minus maybe. I thought it was a good press conference, but it wasn't nearly on the level of past ones. I know a lot of people were excited for Shadow of the Colossus, which, I mean, I definitely want to check it out, but it doesn't get me, like, pumped. I don't have, like, that, like, loving feeling for Shadow of the Colossus because I never played it in the PS2 era. And then also Monster Hunter, which was a pleasant surprise. Maybe I'll check it out, maybe I won't, but it's definitely another surprise that they have. But the issue I have about this game is that all these games are coming out for 2018. There's nothing really they're saying what 2017 is going to look like. I mean, so far they've done pretty well with, using third parties to sell their consoles. I mean, they have Destiny, basically. Destiny feels like it's a PlayStation game. Oh, they mentioned Destiny in this trailer, too, but it wasn't like anything too crazy, I think, right?
No, yeah. So basically, with the Destiny 2 trailer, they showed off the villain, Gaul, which is going to be the guy you're fighting. Nothing crazy, nothing mind-blowing. You're kind of just getting introduced to the villain, which I will say, he looks pretty badass. I think that was one of the biggest problems with the original Destiny is you didn't really know who you were fighting in particular. So, I mean, it was a good trailer, but nothing to get like, oh my god, about.
Yeah.
So
let's try to roll past Destiny as soon as possible, Gary. I don't want to talk about that shit. Just kidding.
Oh yeah.
I'm definitely going to check out Destiny. I definitely want to hop more into a new updated Destiny. But yeah, that's what I'm mentioning is that it seems like all these games are coming out for 2018. There's nothing that we're going to see, nothing to get us excited for this year per se. And all these games are games that they've showed off before. I mean, they go more in depth of what the game will be, which I like and I respect. But I just don't. There's nothing to get me too hyped because I've seen these in the last E3 press conference. I've seen these. I know what these games are. I know that they're coming out. It's not like, oh, wow, that's exciting. No, I know this. It's cool that I'm seeing gameplay, but it's nothing, extraordinary, I guess you could say.
It couldn't have said it better myself, sir. So I would say C plus B minus, definitely in that range.
For me or you? I thought you just said B. You're now contradicting yourself.
Well, no. I was saying B or B minus before, but I was saying B minus, C plus, I would say probably the more accurate rating.
Oh, I swayed you over to my side. I see. I did my job. I fucking won, Gary. Woo! I don't know what I'm saying right now.
You're just the best.
You're the best. All right. Okay, moving on to what Nintendo announced today, Tuesday, at their fancy, so they have to do spotlights now. They're not called Nintendo Directs anymore. Or maybe they are. I don't know. This one's called a spotlight. They highlight specifically the Switch. Reggie standing in front of a camera and, did some, saying some very poetic thing about the Switch and it being a ticket and something about an Odyssey, which makes sense because it fits with Mario, the Odyssey, Super Mario Odyssey, and all that jazz. But they started off with, like I said, it's going to be a Wii U port. Xenoblade Chronicles 2, JRPG coming to the Switch. I felt like this was coming because I know I watched the IGN a little bit beforehand, and they did mention that a lot of people didn't have the Wii U, so this is exciting for Nintendo because not everyone has seen or played these games because the Wii U didn't sell that well at all. So now they can release gems that were on the Wii U now to the Switch for everyone to play. Xenoblade Chronicles was one of those gems. So and it's coming out holiday 2017, which I was excited for. They made sure to mention it in this trailer or spotlight that a lot of these games that they're talking about will be coming out 2017, which I do respect. It's kind of a little jab at like Sony, maybe Microsoft. I can't remember.
I was actually going to say this until the end, but I'm going to say it now. The thing that is with Nintendo is that I feel like they do have kind of an advantage when it comes to this press conference because they're a new console now, and now they can throw out a lot of the games that they're going to be releasing very soon. They're basically under pressure to do it already because of the lackluster lineup they had. So I think they kind of had an advantage over the other companies in that they basically have to deliver new games because it is a new console.
Fair enough. Next they talked about was Kirby, which I actually kind of thought was really cute, and I'm really digging the art style. It's coming out in 2018. I thought it was a cute Kirby. Next game, what is it? Pokken Tournament. they mentioned about it coming to the Switch, even though I think it already is there. I may be wrong. But the main thing is that they're making a Pokemon RPG for the Switch, which sort of, I was talking with Allison when this was happening, and she said that the fact that they're making a Pokemon RPG for the Switch kind of perks up her ears to think. Make sure to emphasize that. She's thinking about getting a Switch, maybe, for the Pokemon, RPG. Then, some reason, out of nowhere, which I got it right.
Yeah, you got it.
Look at that. Metroid Prime 4 is actually going to be released. The thing that was... They just showed off. They're saying, you know what? We're fucking tired of people asking us about making another Metroid game. God damn it. We're just going to show you the fucking title and that's it. We're just going to say it's coming out and nothing else. That's basically what they did. And actually, after the press conference, they announced that there's actually a 2D Metroid coming to the 3DS for those people that do have 3DSs. So look forward to that. Then they showed off a new Yoshi game coming in 2018, which I like the art style. It's not really yarn, but it's kind of like a mesh type, like plushy looking type of art style, which I thought was cute. Of course, it's going to be a Yoshi game, throwing eggs, collecting people in your stomach and shooting them out your butthole, basically. Then they went all over the Breath of the Wild's DLC that's coming in June 30th, and then another DLC calling the Champion's Ballad, where it seems like they're going to be releasing amiibo figures, and then you can play as these characters with those amiibos. Another cool thing is that the Switch is getting Rocket League, which I feel like it makes sense for it fitting there. I mean, realistically, Rocket League fits everywhere. One of the cool things is they have crossplay going on, so it seems like they'll be able to play with people on PC and Xbox. However, I was reading that crossplay for Rocket League is ready for PSN. However, they're waiting on Sony to give the go-ahead. Of course, there was another article that I saw about Sony, it was Minecraft, where they're not giving the go-ahead to do crossplay, and I don't know if these are... I don't know. I don't want Sony to start going down this road of saying, like, being the odd man out and, burning bridges. And this is where Nintendo went down. They started burning bridges thinking that they're better than the third parties and they can do their own thing. And then they fucking got the Wii U with no third-party games coming to it. But, yeah. Then they did a trailer basically ending on Super Mario Odyssey, which I thought was really cute. I like the idea of throwing the hats and being different things, like a gigantic dinosaur or a new human or like a tank. It's a new 3D Mario game. I thought it was cool how you could hop into a pipe that goes into a wall and you become a 2D character, which it seems like they're doing kind of a mix of what they did with a Link to the Past. It was the 3DS game where you could go into the walls 2D style and walk around, the Zelda game that came out for the 3DS. But yeah, I thought that was really cool. It was like a throwback to the 8-bit style of Mario when you go onto the wall. It just seems like it's a very expansive world that they're playing, and they showed off, actually, IGN has a trailer or game modes that I wanted to check out where they're actually playing this game. It was like a 30-minute long thing, and I wanted to see how it played before this, but I didn't get a chance to, unfortunately. But I think it looks really cool and kind of cute. Gary, do you have any thoughts on... Basically, that was all the spotlights. It was a very quick in-and-out type deal. They're showing, hey, this is what we're doing. That's about it. We don't need a long, lengthy thing. What did you think of what you saw from this?
Well, Metro Prime is really exciting, obviously, for a lot of people. I will say that the one thing with all these trailers, especially like Super Mario, Yoshi, Kirby, Nintendo does such a great job, I feel like, at like just kind of capturing what Nintendo is all about in all their trailers. Like, it's always like kind of fantasy, cutesy, magical. Yeah. Exactly. They do such a great job at it. And even though I'm not into it in particular, I can see why a lot of people enjoy it, and they just do a great job with that. So I just wanted to say that. Overall, it's still not something that's going to really tip the scales for me in buying a Nintendo Switch. Again, I'm not really into Super Mario that much, Kirby. I mean, I played those games in the past when I was a kid, but it's not something that's going to really bring me over anytime soon. So I know a lot of people are really excited about this conference, and they think they did a really good job introducing new games and new experiences, and I think they did. But, yeah. Good job by Nintendo here.
Yeah, there's different reactions. I know I was talking interacting with Allison about this. She was thinking about it, but she is also kind of in the same boat as like, this seems like it is it's not anything new. There's not any new IPs. Nintendo trying to do new things with a new IP. Seems like they're going like what a lot of things you've mentioned, Gary, where they do the same characters and it's basically the same game type, just maybe a different art style, and maybe they add like a little cutesy thing, which kind of makes sense with Super Mario Odyssey, where they're adding like the hat mechanic, where you're changing into new things, which is what Nintendo's actually really good at, is using their IPs and changing it up a little bit, but keeping the core of what everybody loves about it. But I can understand that people they want new things from Nintendo, which is like the only new thing nowadays. It seems like it's Splatoon, and they're making basically a second one for the Switch. They'll have more single player for Splatoon, and it'll continue. People really adore the first game that was on the Wii U, and now it'll get to more eyes on the Switch. And then also, I saw somebody on Twitter, who I think follows the podcast, Lauren Coop at Lozykins or whatever. She says Nintendo has stolen the show at E3 for me. So much coming to the Switch. Looking forward to Fire Emblem. Oh, they did mention Fire Emblem. Looking forward to Fire Emblem, Skyrim, and Xenoblade in particular. So, yeah. I mean, a lot of people are excited about this. I thought that Nintendo did a great job with this press conference, or this spotlight, because it was in and out. They showed the games that people were cared about. I think they did a great job. It made me somewhat intrigued to purchase a Switch and seeing more games coming out, which is what people want. But who knows if we'll see if they can keep the ball rolling with the games coming out. But yeah, that's basically my thoughts on the Nintendo press conference. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, I couldn't say it any better, to be honest with you.
Oh, thank you. I know I am great. I am so good. I'll be in the next great voice actor, according to you.
Nolan North.
Be the young Drake. Watch out, motherfuckers. But yeah, this has been Two Jersey Kids Part 2 of the E3 special, whatever you want to call it, where me and Gary react to it. We appreciate you so much. So if you're a new listener, please hit that subscribe button if you think we deserve it. If you enjoyed this roller coaster of an episode. If you're a continuing listener, again, we love you so much. You're basically an honorary Jersey kid, so take that with what you will. I don't know if it's a good thing, I don't know if it's a bad thing, but you're a Jersey kid. Yay! But yeah, me and Gary seriously love you all. We appreciate you guys whenever we interact with people that enjoy the podcast. It warms our hearts. So yeah. It would be great if you felt the same way about us, if you went and rated us. I know a lot of people have rated us that really adore the podcast. And if you are a new listener and want to rate us, please go rate us on iTunes. It'll help us out standing-wise. It'll get more eyes on the podcast. And hopefully we can grow as a, communikey. I threw it in there, Gary.
There we go.
There it is. But yeah, thank you so much. Gary, you want to say anything before we go?
It's been a great time covering or discussing basically E3. It's kind of like one of those things we've been looking forward to for a long time, and it's finally here. So yeah. It's kind of fun to record more than usual during the week. I like being here talking to all you guys and talking to Adam, obviously. So it's been fun. I'll see you guys again on the Friday episode for the news. We'll be talking, I'm sure, about a lot of other E3 stuff, whatever else comes out for the week. Will. So I will see you guys then.
And one thing we will be talking about is to see if you finally built your PC, which I'm excited for. So don't say anything about it, Gary. We're going to leave it in suspense so people can find out whether or not you actually completed your task by Friday. So yeah, thank you so much for being here. Gary, say bye.
Adios.
We love you and appreciate it all. Keep playing those games. We'll see you on Friday. Bye.